What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. We had some epic slaying. Stay tuned for some serious spear fishing.
Keep celebrating me.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Captain Jack. Welcome back to the channel. We got a good one for you today. We are going to be diving in the Bahamas. Look at this viz, dude. Oh my god. It is a glassy one. We got Matt, we got Miguel, we got my sister Paige, and then we got Spenny Boy, aka Sped Guard. But we're gonna be going for some grouper. Might do a little bit of fishing. Definitely gonna try to get a limit of hogs, and I'll see you guys in the water. Now I'm so excited to bring you guys on this trip. I'm gonna give you a little glimpse of shooting the pole spear as well as the Hawaiian. So I go ahead and start with the pole spear and I make a drop. This viz is just unbelievable. The water clarity is beautiful. I see a yellow jack down below, and these things you wanna make sure you make a good shot on them. I ended up making kind of a mid-body shot. And I did not think this thing was that big, but it was a lot bigger than I thought. I was hoping to just horse him up. I know there were sharks around, and I know Matt was diving up above me a little ways, so he's bound to come down, give me a hand any moment. But at this point, I look around and realize, holy crap, I'm not going anywhere. But I kind of didn't want to let the fish out. I could let him out because I have my belt reel, but I didn't want to risk him getting sharked because there were sharks around. Mag makes a drop, gets a hold of the fish, and helps me horse him up to the surface. Now these yellowjack are an easy fish to brain. I usually just go between the top of the head, right behind the eye, and twist the knife a little bit, and then lights will go out. As well as the yellowjack, you also would like to bleed it. I find that the meat is 10 times better if you bleed them, and when you do this, just get your knife, put it almost like the fish has a throat. You stick the knife in the throat and then slice back to the base of the gills, and then blood will start coming out of his gills. And you see that shark off in the distance, so the sharks were not too far behind. Hey, that yellowjack was way bigger than what I thought. So I was like, oh, I can horse him up. I can pull him up. And I looked at it, I'm like, I'm literally going nowhere. I was like, shoot.
Yeah, that's what I saw when I saw you like halfway. I was like, oh, yeah, he actually.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to watch out for the sharks because I knew they would be hot on us any minute. So, yeah, we'll just be careful with that. So when I had that yellowjack, I also gutted him, and I think that kind of fired up a lot of the creatures on the reef. You can see a gigantic black grouper down there in the crack there. And now there's actually two of them kind of circling this big coral head. You can see that that's the bigger one that came out, and now I'm kind of expecting him to pop his head out one of these corners, and I decided to look through the middle one, and I see his fin sticking out, and I just let myself descend, and I shot, but I missed. I hit him decently, but the slip tip kind of slid off of his gills. I did rock him a little bit, which is why he kind of was a little out of sorts, and I ended up getting another shot on him in just a minute. Fudge, I rushed the shot. Now, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but in the previous clip, whenever I shot the yellowjack twisted up my steel cable quite a bit, and it left kind of a kink in it. Now, this is some serious cable, but you'll see exactly what happens when I finally put a good holding shot in this fish. Now I go ahead and give him some slack. I engage the slip tip and he tears off. I'm super confused because I know it was a good shot, right dead center, but same thing, he's a little disoriented. And look, the cable actually snapped. Now that goes to show how much power these fish actually have. So I end up regrouping, get to the surface, and Matt is nice enough to hand me his pole spear, and I make a dive in just a minute.
Hey, I got a big black. He just tore off my slip tip, my metal slip tip.
So now here's something really funny. Matt borrowed a pole spear from his buddy, and it's the original Nomad. This is called the Pile Driver, and it's such a light spear. It's basically the prototype of the Nomad. So it's pretty cool getting a chance to use this spear. I've never used it before, and it ends up being a beast of a pole spear. Now I placed a good shot in his gills, and this guy goes crazy. So now what I did, I knew I wasn't going to be able to extract the fish on that dive, and I didn't want him hanging out, struggling outside of the reef. So I, nice and calm, pulled my dive knife out and brained the fish so he was no longer struggling and died.
Should be able to pull him right out.
So now this is the best thing about buddy diving. You can alternate, take turns. I'm above Spencer. He's kind of dealing with the fish, and I'm looking out for sharks because I know the sharks are around, not too far behind. Spencer made some adjustments. He gets to the surface. We kind of reevaluate the situation, and then I prepare to do another drop. But before I know it, Spencer goes ahead, does a little breathe up, goes down. He knows that it just needs a little slight pull because he situated him the dive before, and he pulls him out. Nice, solid black. I already got 2 fish in the box. Pretty stoked on this trip so far.
Yeah, that's a good one. Dude, thanks for the assist. Thank you. Good stuff. Woo!
There's a freight slip tip, look at it.
Here we go, baby. Woo! Here, keep on. I'm gonna throw him in. That's a good one.
He absolutely torched the metal steel cable. It's crazy how much power these fish have.
What grouper is that?
Black.
Black.
All right, you guys, day's going pretty good so far. Got that nice black. Shot the big yellow jack. Those things are really good eating, good raw. But that black is gonna be so tasty. Super stoked about it. Teamwork makes the dream work. If the guys weren't there, wouldn't have landed them. Matt was nice enough to hand me his pole spear so I could get a backup shot. Literally tore through my steel cable, and that's stainless steel, so that's pretty insane. But pretty stoked on it. That's like the second fish I got for the day, so we're gonna head to some shallower spots, maybe get some hogfish. So we jump in at the next spot, and I realize how shallow it is, and I actually want to mix things up and use a sling. Now the sling is a little different than the pole spear. They have different applications, but I really enjoy and have a lot of fun using the sling. It's almost like underwater archery, bow and arrow status, and you can kind of see me use it right now. You can see I'm kind of targeting those mangrove snapper, approach them nice and calm, draw back, and land the shot. Now the difference is this thing is not tethered to myself. So whenever I make a shot on a fish, I have to, on the same dive, go after the fish and get a hold of the fish because the spear could come out at any time. Now on this dive, I ended up seeing a black off in the distance. You'll see right there. And I do a little grunting to see if anybody's around to try to make a play on the black. While we were making a play on the black, some nice hogfish come in, and I know I need to get one for the day, so I'm hoping that it'll be a big one. This one's a pretty good size, so I go ahead, line up, and same thing, draw back that sling and take the shot. And you see that sling kind of weighs them down a bit, but you still have to grab the fish. And you'll see later on in this video, I actually don't take my own advice and I grab just the shaft, and I end up losing a fish later on, but that's just for, that's later on in the video. Now I go ahead and grunt to Matt to get after those yellowjack, and he does, and he makes a common mistake that I've made plenty of times. He actually forgot to hook his belt reel to his pole spear, which I've done before, and honestly, in my personal opinion, I say that you always do hook your belt reel to your pole spear, so you never know if it's hooked up or not hooked up. That's great. You see my sister go ahead and give Matt a boost to the surface, because those fish are pretty tough.
I've done that so many times.
Now we head to a new spot, and I'm still slinging. I see a black come into the reef. I end up kind of making a quick drop. I know he's gonna spook. I draw, and I was waiting there for him to pop out of that hole, make a cross, and I was gonna let it fly. But unfortunately, that black did not make that crossing, and we were never seeing him again. He must have a really good hiding spot in this coral head. So while I'm down there, I see these big mangrove snapper, so I go ahead and draw back, take a shot on one. And same thing, like always using that sling, make sure you grab the fish. A lot of people try to grab the shaft, and the fish end up just wiggling off of it. Grabbing the fish is the key to using these Hawaiian slings.
You see that black? You saw that black?
So now you'll see all the life on this reef. And a big reason that there's a lot of predator fish is because of all this bait. You see these minnows, they're like little glass minnows, and I've never really even seen this. It was a cloud, it was even hard to see through. And I just cruise on through them. It's so cool because they are kind of moving in sync together, just forming around all the objects. Such a cool experience, and this is what I love about diving. You get to always see these cool new experiences, see things that nobody else has ever seen before, and these are one of those moments. So nice and so beautiful diving these shallow reefs. So now Paige wanted to make a drop and swim through these minnows. I told her, I was like, shoot out, let me just go ahead and record you. And she does something at the end of this video that's pretty epic. But same thing, you see all these minnows just forming around her. I asked her if my GoPro's on just in case, so I don't want to accidentally not be recording. I see that she loads up her pole spear, and I know she's after a fish. I think it's a mangrove, but it ends up being a nice schoolmaster. And these things are absolutely delicious. Just as good as mangrove snapper, in my opinion. And those ladies out there that want to try to spearfish, honestly, nothing to it but to do it. My sister, she's such a freaking awesome diver, awesome dive buddy, and it's because she just goes out there and dives as much as she can.
That was dope. Nice. Yeah. Pretty easy dive.
So now I'm rocking the Hawaiian sling again, and you will see me use it in tight places. And on this dive, I basically use it as a pole spear. So I saw a rock hind in there to the left. I know he's going to be there regardless. So I'm checking other holes, maybe seeing if there's any black grouper around or any dog snapper. I saw nothing in the other hole. So I grab my Hawaiian sling, and what I do is I pull the sling in. I pinch it against the sling, and I basically shoot it like a pole spear. That's what I did on this fish. And everybody always asks the grunting noise that I make, and that's exactly what this grouper is doing. You can hear it, and the sharks are getting fired up about it.
Yo.
So now, since the sharks were super fired up, you can see them kind of darting around. I go ahead and get my knife out, and I dispatch this grouper as soon as I can so the grunting stops. And now I highly recommend everybody dispatches and brains their fish immediately, not only because of instances like this, but also it's no sense in having your fish suffer. So now this dive is awesome. You'll see me use that kind of in the cave spearfishing technique again with the Hawaiian sling. Now I tailed a mutton. This mutton was already shot previously by Spencer. He made kind of a low shot. It was rocked up, and then he ended up leaving this hole and went to this new hole that I followed him to. And this is why it's so good to buddy dive, because I saw the mutton leave the original hole, and I was the only one who saw it. So you can see everybody else dive in the original hole, and I get to the surface, and I'm like, guys, no, he's over here.
Hey, he's over here. Hey, he's over here. He's over here. Yeah, he's right here.
So now Spence went and sussed it out a little bit before, and he looked at the original hole that he went in and didn't see anything. So I know that this is his escape route. So I go ahead, get my light adjusted on my hand. I know I'm not really going to do the pole spear method with this one because I'm going to need to take an actual shot. I draw back and I see the fish, and I kind of make myself get the right angle, and I let the spear fly. And it's pretty cool because you actually see the mutton leave with the spear, but I know it's barely in, so I go ahead, rush over, grab the spear, and try to jam it through, but I realize that there's nothing on the end of the spear. So I look in this hole, and at that same instant, the fish left the hole, and Spencer was right behind me and put the final blow in this fish. This is serious team buddy diving at its finest. So now at the same time, I see some yellow jacks off in the distance, so I do some grunting.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that's right, dude. Hey, I want to shoot one of these yellow jack with the Hawaii. No.
So now when shooting yellow jacks with Hawaiian sling free shafting, you want to make sure you chase after the fish and try to get it as soon as possible, especially if there's sharks around. Also, some good advice, don't take dumb shots. Now that shot was right through the gill plate, right through the face. And now you see me kind of chasing after the fish, putting pressure on him to where he knows he needs to try to struggle to get away, and the spear honestly just weighs him down. Now, one thing to be a helpful dive buddy is always provide a knife, especially if you're about to brain a fish and have your hands full. And you'll see me bleed this fish as well as brain it nice and quick. Now you see that was such a gnarly shot right through the eye. So that was epic. Sharks are fired up, man. We're shooting some fish. That mutton was awesome. Some buddy diving at its finest. That was sweet. Yeah, I shot him in the hole with my Hawaiian sling, and then Spencer, thankfully, dude, you were on the same dive as me? Yeah, right behind me. And then I didn't even see you shoot him. I just turned around and I was like, oh, yeah, sick. Nice. That was nice. And then these yellowjack came in, and I shot him, little headshot with the Hawaiian sling. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Some good stuff. Yeah, a giant Cubera was around too, but he just took off. Yeah, it's fun using this Hawaiian sling. You know how it is.
Man, you're good with that shit. I like watching this video. It's sick.
Yeah. I should have shot the bigger yellowjack. There were two.
Yeah, enough yellowjack, I think.
Yeah, I think we're good. It's done. Miguel's hooked up. Let's see what he's got. What you got? What you got? He's been fighting him for about 2-3 hours now. Oh, Queenie, baby. Oh, no! 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 Oh, no! Dog!
What happened?
What happened?
Shark got it.
That's about it. You're lollygagging, letting that queen trader spoil you. So now that I kind of had that new way of shooting the Hawaiian sling by reaching out with my dive light, there was a gigantic dog snapper in this cave. Now I ended up not shooting it, but you'll see me covering this hole, waiting for him to pop out, and sure enough, you'll hear some commotion going on, and I'll look up, and Spencer gets a dog from the other side. It's not the one that I was initially trying to go after. The one I was initially going after was pretty much bigger than, like, significantly bigger than this, and I finally go under and get a shot on him, and you'll take a look at that in just a second.
Is the big one in there?
So now I go ahead and make a drop on this hole, and you'll see why the pole spear is better for close cave-like situations. I try to do my best with the Hawaiian sling, but with that slip tip and the ingenuity of it, you just can't beat it. Especially even with the Hawaiian sling, even though I love using it, you'll see me get a good shot in this dog snapper, and I try to baby him and just barely grab the tip of the spear, but he just wrenches right off of it really fast. You'll see him dart out from this hole, kind of a little heartbreaker, and he ends up going to another hole. I don't think I mortally wounded him, so he'll most likely be okay.
Take it.
So you remember early on whenever I talked about making sure you grab the fish, not just the spear? Well, this is a prime example of me doing exactly what you're not supposed to do. I make a nice long dive. I'm kind of do a little bit of grunting. I'm just kind of hanging out there. I'm checking those cracks, checking those little creases in the reef, seeing if there's anything hiding in there. And sure enough, there is. It's not under this one, but I turn around and find some dog snapper in the one behind me. Now, not a huge dog snapper, but I was thinking to myself, you know what, my head's like kind of starting to hurt. I'm probably going to be done diving for the day. So I go ahead and turn around, look at this fish. I'm like, you know what, this is my last fish for the day. I'll be happy after this. You can see a dog snapper pop his head out, and then he goes back in. And usually where there's one dog snapper, there's probably more. So I see him go back in the cave. I realize, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go after this fish. Go there. There's more than one. There's a couple in there. I draw back on the initial one I saw, and then there's a bigger one off on the side. Make a really good shot right through the gill plate. Get a hold of the spear. You see me pinch him up to the flopper, and you'll hear me kind of get upset. He just flops right off. The end of the spear just wrenched off of it, and the fish will live, but I was pretty bummed. All right, you guys, we're finishing up. I'm having a pounding headache. After I lost that last fish, I was like, all right, screw it, I'm done. Oh, sweet. All right, we gotta go get Spence, and I'll see you guys in a sec. All right, you guys, we got everything loaded up, washed down. Now we're gonna cruise on back, and we'll see you guys back at the dock. Just a quick little update. Almost home, but we gotta go through that.
This is a quick snack.
All right, guys, we got home late, but we're getting stuff done. After hours is about 8 o'clock. We're gonna start filleting the fish, getting the boat taken care of. Got a little fillet station set up over here. And we got the cooler with the fish. Oh yeah. Got a nice little fan light set up. We're gonna start filleting. Welcome to the kitchen. I'm gonna do something super special. We're going to cook grouper cheeks. So with that big black grouper that I got, they're really good to cut out their cheeks. I miss filleting them, but you will see the aftermath. It is these little scallop looking pieces of fillet, and they are probably the most tender part on the grouper. So delicious, but it's basically right under the eye. You can feel the meat in there whenever you're filleting them. I'm gonna be wrapping them in bacon and seasoning them with some blackened seasoning, and I'm just gonna throw them on the grill, just plain and simple. So it's almost like a filet mignon. I'll see you guys out there whenever I'm throwing these on the grill. Just like little filet mignons. Don't want to overcook them, at least until the bacon is somewhat cooked, so I'll see what it looks like when I take them off of there. All right, it is go time with the cheeks. Look at them in their glory. Nice and cooked, toasted. Be good. The in-laws are in town, so they're going to give a true taste test to these. Never had them before, so we'll see some first impressions. First impressions.
Oh my gosh, that's very tender.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those cheeks are super tender. What do you think?
Yeah.
I might have overcooked
I like the bacon. No, the fish is
Good?
not overcooked.
Nice.
The fish is not overcooked. It's perfect.
Awesome. Sweet. All right, well, you heard it there. Super tender, yummy, delicious. So cut out them cheeks if you've never had it before. If you guys enjoyed this episode, go and give it that thumbs up. If you're new, think about subscribing, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys next week for another adventure. Later.